Hello there, Commonwealth from here, and we have gotten some significant Zelda 40th anniversary and Ocarina of Time remake updates. So let's get straight into them, but first be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. We're starting off with a very fresh story coming up from Necrolipe, namely a possible leak of the Zelda 40th anniversary. And what he posted on Twitter/X was the following. Taking advantage of this Monday being pretty chill, if what they showed me is real, we'll have a logo celebrating Zelda's 40th anniversary right next. Similar to the image here that I tried to recreate. Obviously, take it as a rumor and imprecise for now, that is to say the design. And the design, as we can see from this picture, is a brand new design. It's not a repetition of what we've had since the Zelda 30th anniversary, because that one was repeated for the 35th anniversary. And that one, as we all remember, was first revealed in September of 2016. One of the questions that have been asked is when we'll see actually all this stuff, and to that we also got another reply from Necrolipe saying September, which goes in line with what also Nash Whedon has previously been saying, namely that when will we see Ocarina of Time remake again? Most likely September, and then we'll get back to what that specifically could be. But having NES Link in the logo for the 40th anniversary is very fitting and could be a part of the plan of, focusing on Zelda 1, Ocarina of Time, and Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom, as we also know with the latest Hasbro news when it comes to the toys and action figures of Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf. So is this the end of hope for Zelda being at Gamescom 2026? It's hard to say, because we don't know exactly what Nintendo is bringing to Gamescom. Based on what we have heard from Nash Whedon, Necrolipe, and then we of course are waiting for Nate the Hate to also give his take on it. It seems that yes, demos, or at least public demos, of Ocarina of Time remake are not very likely, at least not until we are going to get proper previews in October or maybe even in November. But still, it would be a little bit sad because we know that the first new Witcher 3 expansion in 10 years will be at Gamescom, as has also been confirmed by CD Projekt Red, as they will be showing more of it on August 25th. That is the DLC Songs of the Past. But when it comes to the release of Ocarina of Time remake, there has also been fears that it could get pushed to 2027, and a lot of us were really afraid when Nash Whedon came out and said that a major 2026 game is likely being pushed to 2027. Many of us obviously thought directly to Zelda, even though Nintendo has made it rather clear that they are not revealing these type of projects this too early, and also as we saw with Star Fox. But the lack of release date immediately triggers that. Luckily, Nash Whedon came out again and then said that no, it isn't Zelda Ocarina of Time remake that is at risk. He actually came out and said, "I've heard that a major game from this year is being pushed back to 2027. They're not my sources, it's not my info, so I can't give details. Whoever told me has my respect, and they're looking into it before sharing more data or confirming." And then he updated with, "I see a lot of people worried about Zelda. It's not Ocarina, that would be delayed. In other words, keep calm and carry on with Ocarina of Time remake." When it comes to remakes though, we have heard updates also from Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of both Legend of Zelda, Mario and Star Fox, who recently had an interview with Famitsu at the Nintendo Museum, where one quote specifically gives us an indication of what Nintendo is planning forward when it comes to remakes and possibly also bringing back older styles of games. Quote, "Some people might say there are a lot of remakes, but after 5 years, a lot of people have outgrown games and stopped playing them. Young people today don't have the opportunity to play games from 10 years ago, so remaking them to be more playable and releasing them again is a good way to meet the demand. Letting people know the original games also leads to future developments, so we've been actively pursuing that recently." In other words, possibilities for new Star Fox games, and also hopefully in the future, new more traditional 3D Zelda games in the style of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and so on. But we also have indications that Ocarina of Time remake is 2026. And that is that Nintendo's Japanese summer catalog has a page dedicated to said remake. Reborn Across Time, and right below it, reaffirming 2026, with a QR code directing to the official website. And yes, the text there, Reborn Across Time, is definitely interesting, because Reborn is exactly what Yoshiaki Koizumi said right after the reveal of Ocarina of Time Remake. But Reborn Across Time could also be wordplay and marketing. Because of course Ocarina of Time, Across Time, Reborn, it all ties to this vision and also the changes that we are seeing being applied already to Ocarina of Time Remake. But who knows, there could be something deeper to it that they're teasing and that we'll get in either late August or sometime in the first half of September, because obviously it has to happen before Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is out. But when it comes to the level of ambition, we have seen a lot of differing opinions and what the price could mean, because we know that Star Fox was at the lower price range and the lack of changes could have reflected that price, and many are afraid that the same thing is going to happen with Ocarina of Time. But luckily what it seems to be is that we're only seeing placeholders so far, because first we saw PlayAsia listing it at $60, but let's keep in mind that was the Japanese version and Japanese games are usually cheaper, and they have also been updating that one afterwards, so that was clearly a placeholder. But now we also know that Play It Games, Movies and Music has listed Ocarina of Time at $70 for the physical copy, which is more in line with what the price will be for remakes and not say games that are brand new and of the highest scale and length and size, because that is where we find the $80 games by all indications, the best sellers, which Ocarina of Time could be. But we also have to remember that Ocarina of Time will be key to the marketing, as we know that the Switch 2 price is going up in US in September, and Nintendo will probably want to deliver positive PR in that time frame. And one example here is Ocarina of Time Remake Switch 2 bundle, and that tied with new footage, proper trailer of the game, and of course Zelda 40th Anniversary celebration. And based on what we have seen, the bundle seems to be more and more plausible, as both Sophazelnik and Necrolipe has doubled down on this one, and what's more, a themed Zelda 40th Anniversary Switch 2 Pro controller. So now we wait for Nintendo, because it could still be a month away before we get these supposed leaks revealed and final from Nintendo. So Nintendo does have multiple options here. They could end up showing this, of course not now anymore in July, because the month is over and the window for presentations have also passed. But when it comes to August, there's still possibilities. There are no big game releases. Gamescom is there. And we saw how Kirby Air Riders got a dedicated direct last year exactly with Gamescom. And that was also a game that was coming out in November. Then again, it doesn't really matter that much, because it's just a week or two probably before we would be getting an either Zelda 40th Anniversary Direct or a general September Nintendo Direct, where Ocarina of Time Remake, Zelda 40th Anniversary stuff, including original Zelda NES, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom related stuff. We know that Masterworks, the English localized version, is coming out in October, so it's a good time to come up with this kind of information regarding Ocarina of Time Remake, Reborn, and any other projects and smaller announcements that they may have for this occasion. And based on what we have heard from multiple of the rumor and leakers, it seems like it's gonna be September, and it's gonna be before Tokyo Game Show, as it is traditionally. And Tokyo Game Show this year is taking place in the middle of September, specifically from September 17th, so most likely Nintendo will need to have a direct or something announced for Ocarina of Time Remake, probably a release date, by Tuesday, September 15th, more likely the week before, so on September 8th or 9th. But we also know that the Zelda 40th Anniversary, when that celebrations will start, will also be connected to the Zelda movie. And the actor of Link, Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, has also said straight out that he can't speak about the movie himself, and talking about his memories, mentioning Breath of the Wild, but also talking about how there is the 40 year of legacy and history. In other words, Link himself recognizing the anniversary, but also the fact that it was wonderful to be filming this in New Zealand, which we know, of course, is where Lord of the Rings was also filmed. We don't know if it's going to be exactly the same locations, but we are for sure going to see sites and places that are very similar to those seen in The Lord of the Rings. But what do you think? Do you think that Zelda Ocarina of Time Remake and the Zelda 40th Anniversary will be coming back first in September, or a little bit sooner, say in August, in and around Gamescom, as we saw with Kirby Air Riders suddenly showing up here? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell and for all notifications. Last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and to all our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to our heroes, Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf and Kintaro. You rock, and please enjoy these awesome videos.